The worst year for a lot of us for our mental as well as physical health. So joining us this morning is best-selling author, coach, and fitness expert, Lisa Goldenthal.
Hello and welcome. I'm Lisa G, your host. You're at the top of your game, yet the game is changing faster than ever. Strategies that got you here aren't the ones that'll keep you here. The pressure is relentless, and the fear of obsolescence looms large. That's why I'm here. Welcome to the new podcast series, Disrupted: How to Be Gritty and Unlock Performance. This is your chance where I sit down with today's tops in business, mindset, wellness, and success to help you master disruption and thrive.
Thanks for coming, and I'll see you soon.
Today's guest is a high-performance coach with a no-excuses approach to helping executives and entrepreneurs reclaim their energy, confidence, and consistency. His journey spans Big Four consulting, tech entrepreneurship, and a best-selling book, The 9 Shifts, where he lays out the exact playbook for sustainable peak performance. He's partnered with household names like EY, Pepsi, Procter & Gamble, and his work has been featured in Washington Post, Business Insider, and I'm so excited to welcome to the podcast, Deekron Krikorian. Welcome.
Thank you, Lisa G. Great to be here.
I'm thrilled to have you. I know we're both passionate about high performance, so I'm excited to dive into that topic today. And you talk about healthy high performance. What's one of the biggest myths CEOs believe about energy, and what's it costing them?
I think that's a wonderful question, Lisa. And I think a lot of people do have myths which kind of cause them to basically not optimize their energy, just go from these peaks and valleys of, I would say, depending too much on things like caffeine and possibly other stimulants these days. And really not giving their natural energy systems a time to kind of elevate and sustain their energy throughout the day. Because when we rely on things like too much caffeine, what that does, it elevates cortisol levels and it creates dehydration and it creates just a bad combination of factors inside the body. It's like you're kind of mortgaging your long-term energy response for just a quick burst of energy. And if we can do it more naturally, it's much more sustainable and it gives us that energy throughout the day.
Well, I agree with you so much. Everything is energy, but I myself can be found relying on coffee in the morning. So is it really important to replace that with equal amounts of hydration? I mean, come on, I'm not going to stop drinking coffee. Do you have
Yeah.
any suggestions for people that are just love coffee as much as me?
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to be a buzzkill. I'm not here to take away the coffee, but I think we want to just do it in moderation like anything else. I think if we're doing 4 or 5 cups a day, it's probably a good idea to pull back. If we're having
Yeah.
coffee late in the afternoon, good idea to cut it off earlier. Just some tweaks like that that allows us to still have it, but not at the sacrifice of our sleep or our overall energy levels. And the other thing I'd say, Lisa, it's not so much like thinking of it like energy, but think of it as your overall metabolism. Because as you can keep your metabolism elevated, your energy is going to go up. And to keep your metabolism elevated, there are certain things you have to do. And so you're obviously somebody very well versed in fitness. And so one of the things you have to do to elevate your metabolism is to make sure you're staying fit, specifically doing strength training. So that's the first thing you want to
Yeah.
make sure you're doing. The
Yeah.
second thing you want to make sure you're doing is having enough protein. So protein actually elevates the metabolism through the thermic response of food. We're
Right.
naturally going to feel more energized because we're having protein, and protein fuels every cell in the body. So if you're focusing more on that and less on just guzzling coffee, you're going to create a better balance. So you have some coffee, but you also keep the metabolism high.
Well, those are great points. I totally agree with you on the protein and having energy with the right diet. I mean, what do you think, for example, of intermittent fasting?
Yeah, so I know it's very popular. I've done it myself. I think it's good if you have, let's say, more of like a weight loss goal. It is a bit of a dieting strategy with the added benefit of things like autophagy, where the cells clean themselves up after 12 hours of not eating. I think it could help regulate insulin, which is one of our key hormones for managing blood sugar levels and energy, by the way. So I think that's intermittent fasting could be good. I think it's worth experimenting with. I don't think it's a silver bullet, but I
Yeah.
think some people respond well to it, and it's certainly good to give it a shot. And the other thing too, we forgot to mention. So caffeine is one of the big stimulants, but the other one is sugar. Sugar is
Oh,
another
yeah.
one that can get us into trouble if we rely on like candy just to have energy, like in the afternoon. There's going to
Yeah.
be a drawback to that as well.
I'm so glad we agree on all those key points and also to getting enough hydration because the coffee you said is dehydrating us. So important if
Hmm.
we are married to our coffee and love it to also drink water like first thing in the
Yes.
morning. And I don't,
Water
yeah.
and making sure you're getting your electrolytes as well, enough sodium, potassium, magnesium, things like that.
Awesome. That's great advice, you guys. I hope you're listening and taking notes on how to naturally maintain your energy. And I would like to jump into the topic of going from burnout to bounce back. What is one of your shifts from your 9 shifts that every high achiever should make today if they want to stay in the game long term?
I love the question. Thank you. I think it's a big one. I think more and more people are getting exhausted, they're getting fatigued, they're driving themselves way too hard. There's so much stimulation happening, Lisa, and I would say one of the big ones. So in my book, I talk about how 85% of Americans, the first thing they do when they wake up is they check their phone.
Oh,
And that immediately just puts us in reactionary mode. It boosts our stress hormones way too earlier in the day. So I would say one big thing is just start your morning in an empowered way. You got to start your morning doing what I call the 3 M's in the AM. So you want to do mindfulness, metabolic boosting, and music. I actually think music is a very powerful tool to use in keeping ourselves emotionally grounded because it's an instant mood booster. It's an instant state shifter. So mindfulness, my routine usually takes me like 15 minutes. That's it. So I'm up, I'll drink some water, like you said, I'll meditate. I'll focus on my goals, my intention for the day. I boost my metabolism by doing some light movement, some squats, some jumping jacks just to get the blood flowing. And of
yeah.
course, fueling with protein so that we could get the metabolism up. And then music is great. So, like this morning, I went downstairs to my building's gym. I was just on the rower for 5 minutes and I was listening to music, and it just totally like gets me going in a beautiful way.
Game changer. Yeah. My routine is similar, but I don't know. I definitely don't eat right away, but I think that everybody has their own program and there's no one size fits all of obviously for nutrition, but I love to do the meditation, focus on my goals, drink my water, coffee, and do a little yoga. So I'm so glad we agree on how all of you guys can maintain your health and your energy in a high stress job. I mean, we are living in some disruptive times right now, and I know you've worked with some of the biggest brands. What separates the top 1% of performers from everyone else? I would love your take on that.
Lisa, I think we're both passionate about coaching people and helping them evolve and
Yes.
grow and work past their blocks. I'd say the top 1% all have some kind of really good mentor in their corner. It's the
Wow.
top CEOs, the top athletes, the top Olympians. They all have somebody guiding them. And I think that's one of the things. And even myself, I've invested in coaches, and whether it's been I wanted to improve my body to the point where I competed in like a natural bodybuilding show at the age of 50. And that was a journey for me. And I needed coaching, I
Wow.
needed help to get there. Or just working through my own internal blocks. Like in my mid 30s, I had hit a period of like anxiety and a lack of fulfillment, lack of direction. And I needed help to get through that. So I think the top 1% are being guided by the right people. I think that's a big one. And on top of that, they have the right habits. They have the right mindset and the right habits to keep themselves performing at their best. They're sleeping better than most people. Their meditation or their mindfulness is better than most people. Their clarity, their leadership, they're coming from a genuine, authentic place. But getting there takes growth. So that's where the guidance comes in.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I find that the top 1% are very structured and disciplined with their habits too. Like, I love working with high level executives myself because they already have the discipline that they can apply to work to get where they are, and they can take that same discipline and apply it to healthier habits too. So I love
Yeah.
that. Um, So I know that you have your book, The Six Habits, or the
No,
Nine
the
Shifts.
nine shifts, yeah.
Sorry. So, what is one final tip from your book of the nine shifts you want to leave our audience with so they can be unstoppable? And take notes, you guys. I want you to start applying this stuff today. There is no Monday start. You got to apply taking one step today. So, what would you suggest we start with?
Yeah, really, really good question, Lisa. What I would say is if I had to kind of boil it all down, I would say definitely pay attention to your thinking patterns. And if some of them are kind of getting in the way, whether like you keep getting frustrated, you keep struggling in a certain area, you keep attracting the wrong people into your life, right? If you see these like loops and these patterns happening, don't just like keep going. Don't just put your head in the sand. Like take a step back and look at those and be like, okay, why am I thinking this way? Again, get some mentorship, some help, some guidance, some coaching, some therapy, whatever feels good to you, but do something about it. Like don't let those things just keep running your life because if you let them, you are going to be stuck in these patterns for a very long time, and it's going to cost you time, which is our most precious resource.
That's a great tip. I really appreciate it because it does take somebody with an outside perspective to really help you when you're stuck like that, like you're spinning your wheels. I've seen it so much in these disruptive, uncertain times where people are just spinning their wheels about what went wrong instead of taking that action to be always forward and moving forward and taking action and positive about what they want. And I couldn't even believe it when you told me you're 50. You look so much younger. So whatever,
53.
53. I mean, I'm older than you, but I just wanted people to listen to you because you obviously know what you're talking about. And where can people find you?
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. So people can find my book on Amazon. It's called The Nine Shifts, like the number nine. And also, my name is very unique. So I'm like the only Deekron on LinkedIn and on Facebook. So if
Yeah.
people search for my name, Deekron,
Yeah.
they'll find me there. And I also was able to get my first name at gmail.com. So
That's
not most people,
awesome.
yeah, like it would be pretty hard to get Lisa at gmail.com. But I was able to get Deekron at gmail.com.
That's
So yeah,
fantastic.
yeah,
Okay. Decron@gmail.com or find you on LinkedIn, the only
yeah.
Decron, one of the only Decrons you would say, because there's so many billions of people on there.
I should probably be the one of the only ones that come up.
Awesome. Well, it was fantastic. Thanks for being a great guest on Whole CEO with Lisa G.
Thanks for having me, Lisa. It's been fun.